Shalom. Kal halalina Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone, and shalom to the prophets that are part of that body. Okay, and also shalom to the 144,001/3. Okay, may the spirit of endurance and may blessings be upon your households. Blessings in the spirit. May blessings be upon your households and the spirit of endurance. Got my words muddled up there. Salakia. But anyway, shalom. There's a whole bunch of things going on, like they're always going on. You know, certain things are highlighted a little bit more than other news stories. Okay. And certain stories irk your spirit, really piss you off, and make you understand why the apostles and elders, when they made that statement saying that, you know what, we're going to jump over Esau to get at you ninjas, then we're going to deal with the Edomites and the heathen nations. It's because it's you ninjas, the 2/3 are the reason why the elect are going through what they're going through. You 2/3 are the reason why, right? Are in the way of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua's rulership. You are prolonging this place. All right. You delete each other in droves. All right. You say you don't see color. You do see color when it's red and blue. Right. Chicago known for its gang activity. The same way LA is known, or the West Coast is known as, these are the curses on our people. And before I go to the news story, let me just read a scripture first. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Okay, hence the reason why you have black on black crime, black on Hispanic crime, Hispanic on black crime. I hate saying the term black. I'm just using the words of today so you understand. Native Indian on Hispanic, Hispanic on Native Indian, black on Native Indian, because we look a little different on the outside. Some of us even look very similar to each other because we are family. And still, they'll say, you're a Moreno or whatever, or, Jake, the Judite Jakes will say, you guys are just Spaniards, you guys are just Spics or whatever, you guys are whatever, the hatred towards each other as well. And ultimately, these are the curses that are on us. And, if Jake is leaving his woman, because she ain't right. Okay, now if a Jake has peace in his household, and a woman is a pillar of rest, not stress, paraphrasing the scripture, the Jake would stay. When I say Jake, I'm talking about the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. All right. And our people are quick, as Elder Bishop Manatazak would say, ninjas' guns are only good to delete other ninjas. All right. Choppers on deck, all these statements and terms. Oh, I got my Glock, my extended, I got my extendo, I got my, I got this down the third. And it's only they get G'd up and they get tough and they get gangster with it, shining their gold teeth, polishing it up with their bandanas, when they're ready to, delete one of their own. They get poetic with it. But when it's Esau walking through your neighborhood, probably with the prettiest, when I say Esau is a so-called white man, walking through your neighborhood with the prettiest girl from the neighborhood, so-called black or Hispanic woman, native woman or that, you Jakes don't say nothing. You don't say nothing. You let them walk through. You let them walk through with, like they're having a walk in Mayberry, man, like it's a Sunday walk. Everything's cool. You guys stand on the corner, probably even give the Edomite a little nod saying, hey, how you doing? How you doing, mister? And he's just got a little demonic grin on his face saying, look at these ninjas. They're all under manners. while he's got his hand on the backside of that Israelite woman, which he's walking through the neighborhood with. You Jake saying gangster then, but when it's a certain another brown guy, another black or Hispanic individual, come probably stay the summer at his auntie's house, you know, because he wants to spend time with his cousins, right? For the summer, he's there for maybe 3-4 weeks. What are you gonna do? You're gonna ice grill him. You're gonna look at him funny. Where you from? What you're about? You know. And if he looks at your girl, just looking, because we're supposed to be circumspect. The Lord gave us eyes to see what's around us, right? You assume that he's looking at your woman, right? Now, there's a video circulating online regarding this individual, right? Okay. He apparently had another argument with a Jake. This happened. This is just one story, okay? This happens hundreds, if not thousands of times a day all around the world with our people. All right. Actually, I'm not saying these are our people. These are our people. They'll be our people in the kingdom once they're in their right mind and they come through the loins of the elect men, the 144,000 Israelite men. But at the moment, I wouldn't consider them my people, man. They're just 2/3 and they piss me off, man. And these fucking dreads, man. This guy is losing his hair and he's got this shit hanging from his head. You know. I don't want to read the story. He's 41 year old. He's 41 years old. You would assume that someone with grey hair would have a little bit of wisdom. Even a 41-year-old, guys are simple, very simple. All right. I was on this guy's channel, The Family. I believe it's a Jake's channel, but I'm not going to play it, of course. All right. I'm just going to play a news snippet. Okay, what the news was saying. All right. So you can hear it yourself. 1 second. All right. I mean, this is just an example of, the state of our people and the fact that Yahweh Hashem Yashai has created stumbling blocks and put our people where the term, if you hear the term, I'll kill 2 birds with one, or I deleted 2 birds with 1 stone. Well, yeah. All right. Whoever perisheth being innocent. Okay. I'm paraphrasing scripture there. Whoever perisheth being innocent. Now, the guy who got deleted, the Lord didn't like, because that wasn't an honorable death. Okay. Just getting popped in a gas station overlooking at some fat bitch. Right. And the woman they're talking about, he looked at, she was not a shapely, attractive woman, man. She was like a big Shirley. But I guess that's the only eye candy they got in that part of town. Jake probably just glanced at her because she's a fat bitch. And this guy here with the dreads thought that, oh yeah, he's looking at my woman. Pulls out a little fucking tutu, or if it looked like a tutu, and shot Jake 7 times. That's the hatred Jake has. 7 shots? Really? Point blank. That's the wrath of the Lord, man. That shows you how much Yahweh Shemeshai hated the other Jake that got deleted. 7 shots. 7 is spiritual. Means completion. Completion. Yeah? So the Lord's put him away. He's going to go down. All right? Now all hell breaks loose. Motherfuckers start turning to zombies within inside his prison cell or whatever. However the situation may go down, he could die of starvation. He could die of being munched by somebody else that's hungry, that's in the cell. Knock him over the head. Or he could be, or he could DIE in prison. Whatever the outcome is with him. The Lord got rid of two individuals that are part of the 2/3. All right? Let's play the news snippet now. Let me just play a little bit of what the news was saying. Let me see if I can find it. Just bear with me. Hopefully no damn commercials pop up. 19. Now, if you want to see a bit of the news footage, I couldn't find it anywhere else. It's on this Jake's channel. Right? I don't know if I can play it or not. I'm not going to play it because he's got like a large channel. I might get flagged for this, so I'm not going to play it. But if you watch it from about 4:39 or 4:41, right, you'll see. Actually, let me see if I can show you a little bit of what this bird looked like, man. On about he checked her out or whatever. Okay, let me see if I can find her. There she is, right? Oh, damn, where's that big ass? There. Now, does that look like to you a shapely woman? Look at that. All that skin tight shit is holding all that together while everything in between her legs is fermenting, man. You know? Look at all that. It's a fat bitch, man. You would never see this shit 30 years ago. Watch your old footage of women back in my era when I was a young man, early 90s, mid 90s. Women are still ratchet as fuck, but I tell you one thing, they were in better shape, well better shape. All right? All right, now I'm just going to just go through a few. All right? She walks by, then he comes out of the blue. All right, see that? See that? See the hammer there? He's got the hammer in his hand, and the other Jake there with the red Averex jacket knocked his hand out of the way. It could have been a combination of things, man. You know, but I guess as soon as the woman walked by, that's when he come out. But let's just play. You can watch it online. Check out the news footage.
We have to stop it there. The man Donnell Boyd was arguing with later shot him 7 times. Later identified as 41-year-old Jonathan Robinson. Apparently that was his girl. He ain't like how he was looking at her.
A station overnight turned deadly. Now police are searching for a shooter.
Our Sarah Maki was in Grand Crossing talking to employees about the murder just feet from their front door.
It happens here at 1:15 in the morning. Only one overnight clerk inside this station, but employees who arrived hours after the crime tell us the entire thing was caught on surveillance video.
Yeah.
College State said a person is shot on the ground and there was not bridge. We got fire rolling that way.
Employees couldn't share video of the overnight incident, but told us it looked like the people involved were strangers. They tell us a woman was here to buy something when a 40-year-old man who didn't seem to know her approached. The woman did not seem interested, they tell us.
So I guess they're saying the guy with the red maybe approached her, tried to talk to her. She might have walked into the station, gas station on her own, while apparently this dreadhead man of hers was in the car with a hammer, right? And he probably approached her. She wasn't interested, you know, and I don't know. I guess he didn't like it, you know. You gotta be very careful out there, man. Men, if you're gonna approach a woman, if she's with another guy, you might think, oh, that could be her brother, that could be her, you know, it could be her dad. He might look young or whatever. Be very careful. Don't approach a woman if she's with other men. Okay, even if you can assume there's somebody. And if you do approach a woman, be very respectful. She's got somebody, walk away. Don't be all feel like, oh, yeah, she shot me down, I'm gonna say something. Don't do that. Be respectful, man. All right. But ultimately, this is a perfect example of our people and the emotional nature that they have. And this is what happens when you don't have a man in the household. A man thinks with clarity. A man thinks with logic. A man will say, okay, it's not that serious. You know, a man might say, okay, he asked. He wasn't disrespectful. This is a good test of my woman. He didn't touch her. He didn't say nothing out her name. He didn't say no rude words to her. He didn't put his hands on her backside or her shoulder. He didn't try and come close to her or try and grip her up. You know, he asked. She said no. That's that. You know, you might look at the guy with a stern look or whatever, and you just leave it at that. You know. And even if he did put his hands on your woman and your woman didn't ask for that sort of shit, then you could deal with it with fists. This guy pulled out the hammer straight away. Regardless, you know, even if you do the so-called right reason, still, if the Lord has got it out for you, then you're going to get got. This is the thing, man. You know, it's a terrible thing, as they say, to fall into the hands of the living power, man. You know, paraphrasing scripture there. Just
and told us another man got involved. They tell us a woman was here to buy something when a 40-year-old man who didn't seem to know her approached. The woman did not seem interested, they tell us, and told us another man got involved, seemingly on her behalf. But even as the woman tried to leave, a fight between the two men continued. The man who was already with the woman pulled out a gun and fired at the 40-year-old before the two left. Police were here for hours collecting evidence and returned later for the surveillance video.
Were they on foot or in a car? They split in a white vehicle, unknown make or model. The female was wearing a brown jacket, black leggings. That's all the info they have at this time.
Employees wouldn't talk to us on camera, but tell us they are upset by the rounds of gunfire that led to murder just feet from their front doors.
The crime scene will consist of around 11 shell cases, a vehicle with a plate, white socks, and then our victim.
Police tell us they haven't made any arrests for this crime. Area 1 detectives are investigating. They also are not releasing the name of that 40-year-old man because they are trying to track down his...
Now, this incident happened 5+ days ago, but the surveillance footage has been leaked online less than 24 hours. And the sister of Donnell had went to Facebook and said to follow. I just watched this man shoot my brother down for no reason, all because he said he got good smoke. You crazy. Ain't you sick in the head for this one? I hate I even watched that bullshit. You wrong, dude. He deserved to be done the same way. Y'all don't even have a heart anymore. And Donnell later got arrested May 16, 2025, with his next court appearance being June 4th, 2025.
All right. And the other guy who owns this channel, the family, the Jake speaking, is probably just narrating the story. Okay. Whatever the situation was, man, obviously it happened after his woman walked by, and obviously the guy in the red apparently said he's got good smoke. I don't know what that's. Isn't weed legal already in parts of America? So regardless of the situation, the fact of the matter is, Jake is just too emotional, man. This is what happens as a result of no, because with a woman's mind, and when you analyze it and you read the scriptures, and then the elders break it down, and then they add the and the Ruach Kodash is working as it should. The elders break it down, and they let you know that a woman's mind, truth be told, Elder Apostle Rakayala said this, that a woman's mind really doesn't grow beyond 12 years old. Now, if you guys have ever had a female boss, or you were married once like I was, and you go back in your mind and thinking about certain instances and the behavior of your wife or ex-girlfriends or whatever, you realize that a woman's mind does not go past the age of 12. They're very childish, very emotional. They have to be led. Women always want things that other women have. That's the reason why, even if women throw themselves at you, if you were to think back when you were married, women threw themselves more at you. And then at that time, when you were married, you probably didn't know that you are allowed to have multiple wives, but you were just thinking, man, I'm not allowed to have another woman. I can't cheat. I've got to be a good husband. If you were in the truth back then, all these women are throwing at you. Just, oh man, I could have dealt with that. I could have dealt with that one. Obviously if they're single, of course, right? But this is just an example of the curses, man. And the Lord is creating stumbling blocks and snares and traps where, the Lord just creates an excellent scenario like this, where he gets rid of 2 birds with 1 stone, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. One's gone, and the other is going to be locked up, And this is the result, of you so-called strong, so-called black women, man. You Judite women lead the way. And even if a Judite woman is in a different package, she might be a little bit humble, a little bit different, but she'll still have that same attitude, because my ex-wife, she's an Israelite. She don't know it, but she's Jake, and she doesn't have the original look, of course. She looks more Northern Kingdom, but she's a ninja woman through and through. Same kind of attitude and all that, same childish ways, selfish. And most women do usually follow the so-called black woman, man. Her mannerisms, her ways, her terms, her mannerisms, her facial reactions, they all copy, they all mimic that, that chicken head shit, the rolling of the eyes, You get rid of them, man, because of the trinkets that Esau, the so-called white man, offers you. Or what happens? You don't want no man, don't need a man. But then your son is seeing who's a man with all that testosterone, all that energy, all that sperm on his system and that testosterone level, all that sperm being created in his system and all that testosterone levels, he's growing bigger, stronger, taller, voice is breaking, become a man, and he's got all that energy, but he has no good male example. He runs off at the same temperature as a female on her rag on a monthly basis. He's like that on a daily. A woman could be like that on a monthly. This motherfucker's like that on a daily. Emotions. This is the kind of shit you see women do. Right? I mean, if you see the Book of Eli, for example, did you see Denzel get emotional when the guy said, "Oh yeah, you shooed my way, you said something to my cat or whatever"? Remember that scene where he gets the Edomite's head and he smashes it on the bar? Did you see him get emotional? He dealt with everything tactfully, with calmness. He knew when he had to move, and when he did it, I don't know. In the movie, did he delete that Edomite by smashing his head on the bar? I don't know, but he only had to move when he had to move. Now, an emotional man will just say, as soon as somebody speaks to you wrong, what are you going to do? You're either going to pull out a knife or a gun and you're going to try and delete that individual. That's an emotional man. Okay? And usually men like that can't really scrap anyway, emotional men. A lot of violent men that are violent like that can't really fight. They're violent because they can't fight. Men that can actually scrap, that are trained fighters, usually are more dangerous, but they'll be more calm and collective. Actually, the most dangerous men that I've trained with in the past and met in my time coming up, most of them are actually real nice people. That think about it. Men that you might in boxing or mixed martial arts or whatever you train in, how many years you trained or whatever. This is just man, it pisses you off. 2 Ezra 5 and 8. There shall be a confusion. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. All right? And we're seeing that happen right now. Okay? The confusion. I mean, Babylon is confusion. It means confusion. Babal. What are you babbling about? No understanding. This place is upside down. All right? We're seeing the destruction of this place as well. All right? And we're also seeing, animals showing up in places where they shouldn't be. Lions and tigers and shit, certain exotic animals in places where they shouldn't be. Dangerous animals, wild cats and foxes and other kinds of animals coming out. This is happening in the UK as well, where they're jumping into back gardens where a mother could be washing dishes. She's put a little toddler outside or a little baby that's in one of those rocking things and asleep. She's probably got the little umbrella over the baby, trying to keep the strong sun off it. But, she's put the baby out in the sun because the baby's having a nap. And lo and behold, she hears a baby scream. And then she comes out and the half of the hand has been eaten off by some kind of animal, like some kind of mountain lion or a fox, And there's been instances of that here in the UK. And I'm definitely going to happen more in America because America is more of an exotic place. There's parts of the world there, it's parts of the world, there's animals that are not here. But we got them over here as well because of the zoos. So the wild beasts are changing their place, and then menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. And these guys are monsters. But the Lord is getting rid of these monsters. As the book of Zechariah says, Zechariah 13 and 8. 13 and 8. Let's go. 2 parts shall be cut off, King James Version. Oh, two. I said 2 parts. 2 parts. Okay, there we go. It says 2 parts. So, at least I found a scripture. Zechariah 13 and 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. The third is the elect, but 2 parts the Lord is deleting. The Lord's going to delete you like that. How this individual is deleted. And then that guy who did the deleting, isn't being locked up in prison. There's many ways that the law could get him. The law could get him deleted by some momos, you know. He could, when all hell breaks loose, there's no food coming in, he could starve to death. Or he could be in the cell all the way up until the missiles come. Or he could escape and then turn into some kind of zombie if he's been vaccinated. We don't know. Right? There's many ways the Lord's going to get rid of the 2/3, man, because we're the biggest nation on the planet Earth, pursuant to Hosea 1 and 10. All right? There's loads of us. With the original looks and without it. All right? Zechariah 13:9. And I will bring the third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh Shemashai is my power. Okay? Now focus on the word, they shall call on my name. You're going to have the name to call on first. And that's the 1/3. See, and I will bring the third part through the fire. The trials and tribulations, the hurdles, the many hurdles, the manifolds of, or the many hurdles that the Jake has to overcome. Yeah? And they'll call on the name of Yahweh Bahashim Yashai, because there's only one name under heaven that we must be saved. That's Acts 4 and 12. Right? You think these Jakes would call upon the name of the Lord, man? Look at this motherfucker. Look at his face. You can see there's a demon on his face. You would think that someone who's just murdered somebody would have some kind of emotional look. Look at it. Just look. You can see the demon on his face. Just look at just aggression. He doesn't look like he's been crying. Doesn't look like he's sorrowful. You know? Whatever the situation may be, whether it's some kind of behind the scenes orchestrated by Esau, it's all ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yashai who controls everything. Man's goings over the Lord, and the Lord takes, the deals with the right hand side and the left hand side. Isaiah 45 verse 7. You know, but you Jakes make me sick, man. You know, I understand, and you guys, you tough Jakes, you street Jakes, you be gangster and rough and tough as fuck, right? But when it comes to the real enemy, the so-called white man, you forget about history. But you can remember the history about, he killed your family member, he killed your partner, from your crew, right? You can't forgive and forget that, though, right? But you can forgive and forget the so-called white man. Obviously you forgive and forget in wisdom, all right? If it's something small with your own people. Certain serious situations, even with your own, it has to be dealt with according to the law, blood for blood, you know what I mean? But the thing is, with you Jakes, you deal with each other in more of a gruesome way. But with the so-called white man, you forget, you leave it all, you say, oh, we're not racist. You don't see color. But you see colors when you see them different rags, right? If you're from a different crew, you see them logos on them jackets, or he's part of that team, or he's part of that team, And this is all ultimately all through because of you so-called black women, man. All right, and the rest of you tribes of you women follow in the same manner, in the same ways, and a lot of you Israelite foreigner women copy the same actions of the Judite woman in America. All right, whether you know you're Israelites or not, you copy the so-called black woman, you gravitate towards her because somewhere deep down you connect, because you're both wicked, because you're all Israelites. All right. You don't need a man, you want to live on your own, you want to be free to have sex with different men. And this is the fruit of that. All right. Your sons are going to grow up to give you disappointment. This guy's 41 years old. He looks older, by the way. Right? This motherfucker, do you think, he's going to be some kind of support system to his family. You know, this is what the goodies of the so-called white man, or all those benefits that you were getting paid for the last 40 years. You're bringing this piece of shit up. This is the fruits of your labor, so-called black woman. All right. But the Lord said, the deceived and the deceiver are his, man. And these are deceived. They all believe the okie doke of the so-called white man. They live in the world of ninjadom. They don't step out of that. They don't step out of the thought processes of ninjadom, of niggerdom. Let's just say it. They give all that gulliness, all that rawness, all that, But they will keep it in their own neighborhoods. But when they go to another area, they get all like, they switch up their tune. Why don't they take all that aggression to sundown towns? Go there. Take a crew of 20, 30 men each. Go strapped up and go there. If you want to get yourself deleted, at least take a couple of Edomites with you. And you Jakes make me sick, man. Sick to death of you. Ecclesiasticus 25 and 24. Of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. All right? She's the beginning of sin. Satan works with her, basically she's got a satanic nature. Most women do have. It's all about them. They're selfish. Their pleasures, whatever they can get. But Satan works with them because Satan works in their mind, saying that, okay, oh yeah, you're a woman. Otherwise, these men are going to have you in subjection. You're a woman. You're strong. You can do the same thing as a man. You don't need a man. You can have sex with multiple men. You can do whatever you want. I'm Satan. I'm going to give you all this money and power. This independence. You don't need a man. You can have an OnlyFans page. You can sell your vagina to rich men. You can go to Dubai. You can go to Middle East, so-called Middle Eastern countries or West Asia, whatever. You can sell yourself to the so-called white man, who wants to asphyxiate you, strangle you afterwards. That's why a lot of you so-called black women die, man. Because the Lord is getting rid of you, sick to death of you. That's why your benefits are being cut off. You're going to be humbled. All you women, all you Israelite women, no matter what you look like, you're going to be fucking humbled. You women in general, but you Israelite women, who all the other women of the world follow, you women are going to get humbled, man. That's why your benefits are going now. Now the benefits that you're losing out on, you're gonna, that money can't go on monsters like that. Maybe you can give your husbands a call back if you haven't given your pussy to every other man. Maybe he can say, okay, you know what? Let me come and step back into my son's life and my daughter's life and give him some kind of balance, because a single father can do a great job with a son and a daughter. A single mother can't do a great job with a son and a daughter. Okay? If you watch most footage online, which I know a lot of you Jakes are, just like myself, I've seen footage of a mother coming through the door, and even the daughter and the son don't run towards the mother or the grandmother. When the father or grandfather's coming through the door or coming up the aisle of the pathway of the house, the children run past the mother and the grandmother, and they run towards the father and the grandfather. Why? They see a disciplinarian. They see someone who's going to protect them, someone who's going to provide. And it's all spiritual as well, because the man is the head of the household. Okay? There's a hierarchy, okay, in this world, okay? It's the Most High who we worship, Yahweh. Then we worship His Son, our King, Yahweh Shai, Brakti Yahweh Bashem Shai, right? And then in this earthly realm, it's the man, right? The Israelite man. Then the Israelite woman, or Israelite women, your wives, right? And then it's the children. The man is the head of the household, okay? Okay. Just want hell to break loose, because sometimes a lot of us have to. I'm gonna say no more. Sometimes a lot of us have to really, hold ourselves back sometimes just to just leap into action some days. And then you've got to think back in your mind saying, you know what? Be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Matthew 10:16. Because the smallest thing could trigger you. Like someone walking by and spitting next to you. Even though the spit doesn't go on you, but this spat next to you approximately 6 to 7 feet away. And you think to yourself, if your back is turned, did this motherfucker just spit on me? That happened to me yesterday. I was going to leap into action. And I thought to myself, I'm thinking to myself, nah, the Lord will let me know. I don't feel no spit. I don't feel no residue. I don't feel no like what you call like a spritz in the air of like wetness coming on me. It was some fucking 2/3 motherfucker while I was washing my car, smoking weed, selling weed to a white bitch yesterday, to eat on my fat bitch. Jake walking up, short tubby motherfucker with his braids, and I'm washing my car. My back is turned. I'm washing my car. Kneeling down or whatever. Motherfucker walks by. You hear the spit, and I turn around quickly. All right. And I thought to myself, what is this motherfucker doing? Is he trying to start something? Then I thought to myself, did I feel it? No. Then I looked at where the spit landed. Okay, it was several feet away from me. Okay, so okay, cool. It didn't go on me. Because had I felt something, I had to balance it out in my mind. Say, did I feel anything? No. Then I looked up at the sky and I prayed to the Lord. I said, Lord, did this? You would have let me know, right? Everything. I asked the Lord about everything, man. I pray without ceasing because I know Satan, demons are going to jump on you, man, to make you feel a certain way. Did this motherfucker just spit on me? Because I don't like people spitting even near me. To be honest with you, if I feel a residue of that spit, it's going to go off. I will smack the shit out of you. Because there's nothing. Person can look at you the wrong way. A person can look at you the wrong way, give you ice roll. That's cool. Fuck that. I'm not bothered with that. But spit, saliva. Now, the spit of a woman, your woman kissing you, that's okay. That's your woman. That's your, or one of your women. That's different. Now, some motherfucker just, male or female, but we're talking about a man here right now, gobs past you walking by, that really irks my spirit, But then I thought about it. I said, okay, cool. I didn't feel no mist of wetness coming on me. All right. But then I thought to my mind, Yahweh Shemashah would have let me know, and I was covered. And that was like a test in itself. So sometimes you got to like balance it out in your mind, when to go into action and when not to, Because you know how it is, Jake. I'm digressing again. Salakia for that. So we, as men, Israelite men that have had fathers, and even if you had an older brother in your life, a grandfather, your mum's, if you never had no father, but your mum's brother was there, like your uncle, but he's always there for guidance. You've still had a better start than a lot of these Jakes out there, man, that have, it's a cycle of hell, man. But at the end of the day, the Lord, created everything for a purpose and everything for a reason. And ultimately, these individuals are created they were just live their lives in vain, and they're scumbags as well, and so are their mothers for raising such pieces of shit. But then again, Yahweh Shemashah wants to get rid of these 2/3, and they've got, the Lord's getting rid of them one by one, day by day, week by week, year by year, until that final climactic situation, beautiful situation of America being nuked with 200 million warheads, and all these pieces of shit will be gone because they get in the way. Okay, all right, they get in the way. It's like somebody tries you in the street, and you're just minding your own business, and you're with your woman, right? But your woman gets in the way, stopping you, and the other man could could let one off and hits you in the face. Women just do the wrong thing, man, most times. Salakia for digressing, man. These sort of situations piss you off. And we want the Lord to get rid of all of these 2/3, man, because they're gone. Then we can get Esau. You know, I'm gonna leave it there now. You know, and may Yahweh Hashem Yashai delete all these 2/3 ninjas quick, no matter what package they come in. Northern, Southern Kingdom, Israelite foreigners from the Northern and Southern Kingdom. Delete all these 2/3 motherfuckers, man. Delete all of them. You know, Lord willing, this thing picks up, time speeds up even faster. So, you know, a lot of us are aching just to get down, man. Lord willing, you get some of that download if it's the Lord's will, or be next to someone that gets that download. You know, I'm gonna stop because I'm just venting too much. Anyway, all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashai Bashem Rakakadash Mawatha Babal Kwam Yashrala. Now this is the result of you independent women. Independent woman, however that fucking song goes. You know, this is you independent women, the creation. This guy's 41 years old as well, right? And he's still a piece of shit, you know, an example. And how much more, you know, with these faggy looking young YNs. Fucking. Anyway, shalom.